Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of the podcast where we're going to be doing our 2026 Grammys recap. We're going over our picks, who won, what are all the fabulous can't miss moments from the ceremony, the controversies, the snubs, the performances, the highs, and the lows. We will be encompassing all of that and more on today's episode. I am joined, as always, by the best co-host a guy could ask for, Jeff. Jeff, how are you doing this fabulous evening?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I am excited to talk about the Grammys. I did sit and watch the whole show, so I am a wealth of information, whatever information you folks may need. So we did on a previous episode with our buddy Tanner, R.I.P. Tanner. He couldn't make it tonight. He had the runs, folks. Real nasty case of bubble guts. Really, it's that poor toilet, that poor plumbing. His downstairs neighbors are shaking right now.
The paint is peeling off the walls as we speak.
And he really had some all-time bad takes as far as his Grammy predictions. So we'll get into all of those. And Alex, would you rather talk about some of the performances, some of the kind of controversial stuff that happened, or would you rather get into some of the picks and let the other stuff work its way in?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think probably to go through the categories, the picks, the winners, and I think kind of organically some of the other stuff is going to rear its head.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's go through kind of the big ones, and then we've got some categories of things that I think are more, a little closer to our heart and how those things turned out. And then I think that's the kind of stuff that's going to get us to the controversial parts of the evening, I think.
Agreed.
So the best new artist, and I'll talk about our predictions first. You were the first one to say that you were firm that Olivia Dean was going to win this award. I ended up agreeing with you. I did give a little bit of shine to Addison Rae as a possibility dark horse, but I did lock in with Olivia Dean. Tanner, poor sweet Tanner, said somber. And the winner was, Alex, don't you know who won the pony? It was the both of us, so I hope it's got room for two. It was Olivia Dean.
Dean. Absolutely. I think it was the slam dunk-a-rooney. If there was one this year, because we'll get into that with other categories. It's like, well, what? Best new artist was a slam dunk. They picked the right person. It's part of my ongoing pop argument about we're getting a lot of different things, a lot of exciting things out of the pop space these days. So this is kind of a classy, self-possessed, mature sound. Come be the man I need. Great voice, great presentation, not reinventing the wheel, but taking some of this kind of gutsier singer-songwriter material and kind of elevating it. It's not the contrast it with the kind of playful slutty vixen Sabrina Carpenter stuff, or the Billie Eilish moodiness or the Miley Cyrus candor. This is just another flavor profile. This mature beyond her years, very introspective singer who's kind of creating something that's just a little bit different than anything else that's on the plate.
I think it's the kind of music that's going to appeal to both younger girls that are kind of looking for a sense of belonging to something, or maybe looking for something that helps them see a little bit of sense of their own self, but it's also got enough of that kind of classic nostalgic feel to it that, older folks are going to love it as well, because it's going to kind of remind them of a little bit of that 70s sort of flavor, that kind of R&B and soul kind of flavor. But overall, very, very good pick. And I think this was one, like we talked about on the predictions pod, this was about momentum. And I think she's the one that's got it right now. Now, the next category, Song of the Year, is the next one that we talked about on that preview pod. Now, the nominees, I'll go through on this one. Oh, let me go back up to the top. Oh, there are a lot of Grammys. Give me a second.
Oh, my God.
Song of the Year was Abracadabra by Lady Gaga, Anxiety by Doechii, Epita by Rosé and Bruno Mars. I could not pronounce that correctly in the show. Saw it perform live, realized what they do. DTMF by Bad Bunny, Golden by the Demon Hunters, I think the K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yes.
Yes. Luther by Kendrick Lamar with SZA, Manchild by Sabrina Carpenter, and Wildflower by Billie Eilish. And Wildflower was the winner, and none of us were because Tanner picked Golden Song, the K-pop Demon Hunters. You chose Luther, and I chose Abracadabra by Gaga. And none of us were correct on that one. And again, I think it's Wildflower is a little funny. I think we're getting into a little controversy here because I'm pretty sure that song is older than it should be to qualify for this Grammys, if I'm not mistaken.
That song came out in 2004 on Hit Me Hard and Soft. She released it as a single in 2025. It somehow hit the pocket for eligibility for the 2026 Grammys, went massively viral. The timing was right for it to kind of sneak in. Weird eligibility stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like in the Best New Artist last year they had Krungbin.
Yeah.
And it's like Krungbin's been around for 10 years. So
yeah, that was a very strange one to me. And then Billie Eilish got up there and said nobody's illegal on stolen land. And then I don't know if you saw the response that an Indian tribe came out with a response and said, "Okay, give us the keys to your mansion if it's on stolen land." Yeah, there was a lot of activism that we'll get to and talk about because it certainly was a big part of the evening overall. And I'll talk. So I'm going to skip here and do album of the year after because it's kind of the biggest one and certainly going to cause the most controversy, I think, as far as the big awards. But record of the year, this one, the nominees. Why did they put them in the wrong order? Okay. Record of the year was DTMF by Bad Bunny, Manchild, Sabrina Carpenter, Anxiety by Doechii, Wildflower by Billie Eilish, Abracadabra, Lady Gaga, Luther by Kendrick Lamar, The Subway by Chappell Roan, the only one that wasn't part of the Song of the Year category, which was a little weird. And then the Epitaph by Rose and Bruno Mars. And the winner of Record of the Year was Luther. And once again, folks, your boys got skunked. At least Alex and I agreed with each other and said Abracadabra should be the winner of that one. Tanner said Wildflower. Like, what a dolt. What a dolt.
The fish fan would.
Yeah, but the winner was Luther, which I think a deserving winner of this one. That was a great song.
I think, yeah, totally. I think this is the year where it reframed for me how I need to think about record and song.
Mm-hmm.
Because song, you're really just looking at the performer and the writer and the song as it exists, I guess, as a concept, whereas record is adding in like all the producers, all the elements,
mm-hmm.
everything that went into it to execute it. So I guess you're looking at like pure talent when you're looking at song versus like the excellence of execution when you look at like what record encompasses.
Excellence of execution. Don't think I didn't catch that reference.
You like that? Red Heart, baby. So I think my prediction for Song of the Year was Luther, but it makes way more sense for it to be Record of the Year when you think of all the elements that go into that, the samples, the beats, the production. It takes a village, and that village produced Luther. Hard to argue with that for Record of the Year, and somewhat difficult to argue against Wildflower for Song of the Year if you want to take like when it actually came out in this like weird eligibility pool. You take issue with that, I completely understand, but I think as a song, I get it, and I'm happy it got it over something like Abracadabra.
Ooh.
Which I don't dislike, but I have a problem with like, you can't tell me abracadabra, amo una na na, ooh la la. Like, imagine if the Beatles, yesterday, la 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 la. Like, I can't work with that shit anymore. So that disqualified Abracadabra for me.
Okay, that's fair enough, I suppose, even though I will forever say that's a bop.
It's a bop, but
now this one, Album of the Year. This was a big one. And the nominees for Album of the Year was Swag by Justin Bieber, Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter, Let God Sort 'Em Out by The Clips, Mayhem by Lady Gaga, GNX by Kendrick Lamar, Mutt by Leon Thomas, and Chromacopia by Tyler, the Creator. The ultimate winner, though, again, the only one that got it wrong was Tanner. Actually, folks, he's the only one that got it right. And since he's not here, I thought I was going to be really mean and make him have some all-time bad takes, but we're going to give him credit on this one because you and I got it wrong. I think we made two good picks. You thought it was going to be GNX. I thought it was going to be Chromacopia. Tanner's the one that said it was going to be Bad Bunny, and Bad Bunny was the winner.
Always bet on the bunny. So I did what I said I would do on our predictions episode, and I went through and I listened to all of these albums except for I skipped around the Bieber, and I just didn't get to the Leon Thomas.
Yeah.
I kind of like addressed them in the order of urgency that I created in my mind, and just didn't get around to it.
So Leon Thomas hits the same kind of pocket for me like that Olivia Dean does.
Okay. Yeah. No, this is nothing against Leon Thomas.
But I think you may like it. I don't know if it's going to be groundbreaking for you, but I think it's something you'll enjoy hearing for sure.
Well, and we'll get into another artist like that down the line. But I think as far as Bad Bunny winning for Debí tirar más fotos, I wish I took more photos. I think it's a fine pick. I think it's another one of those things where I don't really fuck with trap. It just doesn't really hit for me. But if you look at all of the effort, all of the production, all of the intensity, all of the personality, if you look at everything that went into this album, it's like undeniable quality. The only thing I can quibble with is like, do I like it? Does it, is it my flavor? And unfortunately, trap isn't, but you can hear like, yeah, okay, I see it. I don't get it or enjoy it, but that's not a reflection on the quality. It's a reflection on my taste profile. And looking at the others, it's like GNX was great and you could have given it to GNX, but the more I listen to it, it's a little less impactful or cohesive than some of the things that came before. Chromacopia was good. It was weird. It was fun, but it was a little all over the place, a little, I think, intentionally sloppy, but sloppy nonetheless, and like not always artistically satisfying, but like a really fun listen. But for me, the one, having heard them all now, that I would have given it to, Clips. That album was so interesting and so intentional and so expertly put together. It was really, really powerful. It was like they did some really, really, really fun stuff with the beats and the way that it was presented overall. Like it was this like super cohesive piece. Like there was this repeated phrase all throughout. It was like, that is not culturally appropriate. And it all kind of felt like tied around this very confessional, very honest, very in your face, but not like angry, just like testimonial. It just like I listened to it and I was like, wow, fuck, and went back to it and will continue to go back to it. So my retroactive pick would have been Clips. Let God sort them out.
I think
it's phenomenal.
I think you're among a lot of people that would have chosen that one as the album of the year. Now I think as a cultural moment and kind of it's necessary to kind of recognize the moment that Bad Bunny is having. I think when a lot of people see him win for album of the year, it's a lot of people like us that just simply speak English, and an album like that is not going to really enter into your atmosphere generally, or not easily anyway. But the impact that he has internationally is absolutely insane.
100%.
It is something that I think white America just does not fathom, is how important and popular he is to basically every Spanish speaker on the planet. It is, and there's a lot of them, folks. probably more than you'd guess, honestly.
Don't know if you knew this.
Yeah, don't know if you knew this. But and to me, and I also want to talk about the fact that they say he's the first like Latin artist to like do the Super Bowl halftime show. Are we forgetting about Shakira?
Shakira and I like Carlos Santana was in the mix at some point. Had to have been.
Carlos Santana like played on had played on it, but like Shakira was one of the headliners. Like it was the Shakira and Jennifer Lopez show.
Oh well, yeah, there you go. If it had,
like and I understand like Jennifer Lopez, I don't think has done any Spanish language music, but Shakira's got probably more than she has English music. So it's just like weird that they are saying that he's the first like Spanish language artist to be the headliner. I'm like, literally, Shakira wasn't even that long ago. It was like 3 years or something.
Well, and I think people are, I mean, and this opens up a whole new dimension of the conversation, but I think you've got a lot of people who are jacked up that the halftime show is going to be all in Spanish. And for me, when you say like, oh, as white Americans, we're not used to it, it's like, I, agreed. And then for me, it's like Kali Uchis
Mhm.
has more stuff in Spanish than she does in English. And I love Kali Uchis. Love her music. It's so good. And so like I listen to that stuff. And
Mhm.
again, there's nothing wrong with Bad Bunny other than just like he doesn't work in my genre, but he's talented. He seems like a really solid dude. And it's the first best album to be entirely in Spanish to win. And
Mhm.
that's not fucking nothing. And it's like,
Yeah.
if you're one of those people, it's like, well, why do we care? Why do we celebrate that? It's like, again, do you know how many Spanish speakers there are in the world, let alone this country? Like, it should mean something.
Mhm.
It certainly does to them, and it should to you. You should be happy for them because we've had how many
Yeah.
at this point? You know what I mean? Like, oh dang, I sure wish that fucking Glenn Campbell could have won, but he's dead.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, I hope he brings out Bruce Springsteen for the halftime show.
oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like it's hard to bet against Bad Bunny, and I think the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, I'll be shocked if he doesn't make a political statement. It's what
Oh,
everyone's anticipating, some people dreading, some people salivating over. I can't imagine he pulls his punches there on
yeah.
that stage.
It's gonna be great. And it's gonna
Heads are
make
gonna
a lot of people
explode.
mad. And work for me on the Monday after the Super Bowl is gonna be absolutely fantastic, I think.
Let it rip, baby.
Well, let's get into some categories of some stuff that I think hits a little closer to home for us and things that maybe we talk about a little bit more on this podcast. And I want to give a shout out to the best rock song winner. And this was unfortunately a category that you and Tanner agreed upon, being the song Never Enough by Turnstile. And I said it was going to be Zombie, but I think Youngblood, I think, was the artist of that one. But I did not pick Turnstile. Well, Turnstile is the one that won, as they should have, and as I should have foreseen, unfortunately. But Never Enough was a fantastic song. And Turnstile last year, it was just like 2025 was the year of Turnstile, I think.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because they like you're looking at it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Turnstile won metal
Yeah.
performance of the year as opposed to rock.
Yeah.
And
Best metal song, I think. Or
yeah, best
best
metal
metal
song.
performance for Birds, which is a banger of a song.
So both their awards came in
Yeah.
the metal category, which is
Yeah.
interesting because to me they're definitely more rock. But I mean, and we'll get into the whole labeling within genres thing real quick. But I mean, you gotta love it. I know there are certain like metalhead purists who are like, what the fuck? But who would you give it to? Sleep Token?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Spirit Box,
Um,
I think, is a legit metal band. I think they could have
Spirit
put
Box
that
is a
pretty
legit
good.
metal band. I
Yeah.
like Spirit Box.
Yeah.
And then I just want to shout out The Cure because in the year of our Lord 2026, they swept the alternative category.
Yeah. Good for
Well
them.
deserved. That album grew on me
Yeah.
a lot.
Good for them. And so, yeah, Turnstile also won. So they won Best Rock Album. And that one, that was a pretty like kind of stacked category because that had Private Music by the Deftones, I Quit by Haim, who are typically Grammy darlings, the new Linkin Park album, Never Enough by Turnstile, and then that Idols album by Youngblood. So like that was a category where that could have gone a few different ways. And certainly I think every pick in there is a legit pick, other than I think Linkin Park, because I don't really count them as a current band anymore.
Yeah, Linkin Park without Chester. That seems
Yeah,
weird.
terrible. But they had also so best rock performance. So I did want to, because I mentioned it in the prediction pod, was I talked about the Youngblood performance of Changes, the Ozzy song that he did at his like going away thing. Well, that performance won for best rock performance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Speaking
it
of
was a great cover.
yeah, good.
It was a great cover.
Well, speaking of Ozzy related covers, we couldn't get anyone but Post Malone to do War Pigs.
So I am. It's certainly, I think there's people that I think were have better vocal talents like to suit that. The thing is, though, I think Post Malone and Ozzy were like pretty tight. I think they had met up with each other a lot, and like Post Malone, just I don't know what he's even aware of around him. I think he just floats around from music to music, and he's just like, yeah, I'll sing this, whatever. He does have. I'll give this to him. He does have the way he has that, like that little bravado, that little timbre thing he does, whatever it is, where his voice kind of gets all wavery. Like,
Vibrato, yeah.
yeah, that to me, I think like is similar to Ozzy, but in no other way did that performance like scream Ozzy to me, other than let's have this guy that everybody knows who he is, so we get someone famous to watch, so that they'll watch this performance. Like, I think they could have done a lot better with the pick there for sure.
I think so, and even though I wasn't like the crazy biggest fan of the T-Pain version of it, the T-Pain version of it was right there. I mean, the worst thing you could do is have Benson Boone do it, but
Mhm.
I would say, if you want to do an unconventional pick from someone who's familiar with the material, you do T-Pain.
Like,
And if you want it,
why wouldn't you have Youngblood do it?
yeah, I mean, they're in the building. Why there's plenty of directions you could have gone with it. I think having Posty do it was weird. It's like, all right, he's had this foray in the country that did nothing for me. The
Mhm.
people he's chosen to work with, like Morgan Wallen and Jelly Roll, it's like, so it just further negates the appeal of it. Sorry. Not like an anti-Posty type guy, but like it's definitely hit a point of diminishing returns, and that was kind of
Yeah,
further demonstrated with that
we're not
performance.
counting on Post Malone for any sort of cultural significance anymore.
Not at this point. We'll let you know if that changes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, I will want to point out and talk a little bit more about the fact that Turnstile did win Best Rock Album.
Mhm.
That to me was a surprise. And in fact, neither you or I in the prediction episode really gave a solid prediction for that. So I didn't really write one down for us because we didn't really commit. Tanner is the one that did choose and say specifically that he thought Never Enough was going to win that one. And that to me, that album, Glow On was a like world changing album for me, and the kind of album that would be very difficult to follow up on, really. What Turnstile did with Never Enough, I just wanted to give a little bit more shine to just how good that album is. It is, and how happy I am that they got the recognition for making that album.
100%. We're a pro Turnstile pod.
Yeah.
I was converted by you, and yeah, good for them.
And now we're going to get into a couple of these country awards in these this country category, because I think this is where we're going to find some things to say. Certainly about a man named after a donut. To me, there were some good picks in this, and there were some absolutely head scratching choices made in this one. I will say, I do want to point out that you did predict that Billy Strings was going to win the Best Bluegrass Album, and he did, in fact, win the Best Bluegrass Album for the Highway Prayers album. And I believe that folks can find an episode that we talk about that album from the 2025 list. But we're getting into Best Country Song. Our boy Tyler Childers, he went ahead and took that one home for Biting List. That was a fantastic song. Now we're going to get into the album picks for this one, and the goddamn travesty that occurred in particular in one of the categories. So they split up the categories this year. They did a Best Traditional Country Album, which their description is for albums containing greater than 75% playing time of new traditional country recordings. I suppose you would consider like a George Strait or somebody like that to be your traditional country, to kind of put a flag in the category so people might know who it is. So the nominees for this one was the Dollar a Day album by Charlie Crockett. Phenomenal album. Absolutely phenomenal. American Romance by Lucas Nelson. Oh, What a Beautiful World by his dad, Willie Nelson. Hard Headed Woman by our girl, Margaret Price. And then Ain't In It for My Health by Zach Top. And Zach Top is the one that ended up winning that. Now, I will say, as much as I think Charlie Crockett deserved this award, because Dollar a Day, I think, was that good of an album, I can see how Zach Top wins this award. Are you familiar at all with Zach Top?
I am. Yes, I had to go looking for this afterwards. Yep.
Yeah. I think as far as any country artist today that might fit in that, like David Lee Murphy or like was it Travis Whitman, all these like 90s country artists that I used to hear at daycare all the time, like he probably would have fit in just fine. And
Yeah,
he's
big shirt tucked into tight jeans.
yeah, big 10-gallon Stetson hat, like has the look, big belt buckle, he's not putting on the Jason Aldean like rough country kind of look. Like he's going for the classic kind of like rhinestone cowboy kind of look. So I can certainly appreciate that. And I thought the album, for what it's worth, was pretty decent for the kind of music it is. And he is actually like monster guitar player too, which I do have respect for.
Yes, I would say that the Zach Top pick makes sense. It's not like a total out of left field surprise because of the criteria for that category.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't necessarily like make a cogent argument against it on any basis other than like if you really liked the Margot Price album that much or
Yeah.
the Charlie Crockett album that much. And like the Margot Price was decent. I think she like one another person that's kind of starting to hit a point of diminishing returns.
Mm-hmm.
Would like to see her vary it up, but will always ride for Margot Price. And then like Dollar a Day, Charlie Crockett was just great. Again, like without being a gimmick, great throwback to this very traditional sound and style. That's personally what I would have given it to, and I know it is for you too. The Zach Top thing, you can justify it, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And I don't,
Transitioning,
yeah, and I don't
yeah,
hate it.
I don't hate it. It's a little bit of a like who, and then you listen and you're like, okay, I get it. That is contrasted with the other side of the aisle with our contemporary country category.
Yeah. So the nominees for this one: Patterns by Kelsey Ballerini, Snipe Hunter by Tyler Childers, Evangeline versus the Machine by Eric Church. Those last two I mentioned, you can find episodes on this podcast about. Beautifully Broken by The Donut, and Postcards from Texas by Miranda Lambert.
Yeah. So I think out of that crop, look at that crop. For me, it would be Snipe Hunters, and I wasn't even like.
I remember you weren't that crazy about that one.
I wasn't that crazy about it, not because it wasn't quality, but because the whole thing didn't necessarily like cohere for me.
Yeah.
But like again, the quality is there; it's undeniable. And in terms of like who's doing what in the contemporary country space, I mean that's kind of as like fun and inventive as you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
and
Eric
I really,
Church did move the needle
yeah,
for
and
me.
I know. I remember we did I liked the Evangeline versus the Machine album quite a bit, and I remember you were not super crazy about that one either. But either one of those two picks, and honestly, like any album from this, because even the Miranda Lambert album was pretty decent. Like the fact that Jelly Roll got selected for this pick was strictly simply, I think, to throw a bone to who the most popular person is in this category. And the Grammys just trying to like grab a hold of that. This is like the evil side of them giving that award to Bad Bunny.
Yeah, this is the finger on the monkey's paw curls. It's like, you want the popular underdog here to get something, do you? And the Grammy goes to Beer Belly, fucking Jelly Roll. He did it. And I will be honest with you, I've listened to that album in its entirety on YouTube because I didn't want to fucking sully my Spotify or get someone could look at my profile and say, ew, he was listening to Jelly Roll. I have a complicated relationship with Jelly Roll. His music is very, very bad. It is very insipid. Everyone's like, but what a voice. And it's like, not really.
No, come on.
Not really. You were all taken in by the fact that there was this Brendan Fraser in The Whale with face tattoos who came in and was like, I'm only one fudge ram from the Beatus. Like, we were all very taken with the redemption arc of the fat tattooed ex-convict who found salvation in jail and went on to become multi-platinum recording artist. And like, there's so much of the Jelly Roll character and the Jelly Roll lore that in theory is something you could root for, except it's been shoved down our throats. It's a psyop. And then he's one of these people that's everywhere. He's at WrestleMania and he's, probably at your local Walmart. You want a picture with me? It's like, nah, dude, I met an Applebee's fry cook the other day. I'm good. I basically met you. I would love to meet him to tell him you make the kind of music for families that take their prescriptions and all shove them in a pile in the middle of the dining room table and say, take what you need, take a perkadoodle, leave a perkadoodle. That's the policy in the Gudger household. It is unlistenable, lowest common denominator fucking garbage. And I know it means a lot to a lot of people, but it is bad. And I was like, leave him alone. Good for him with the weight loss dream, all that stuff. For him to then get up and literally pull out the Bible and be like, Jesus is for everyone. It knows no political party. I'm like, okay, that's a nice message. You're being
Yeah,
intense,
right.
but the idea of like, yeah, Jesus doesn't have a political party. Great. For them to then ask him to dig a little deeper, and then he's like, oh, I don't talk about politics. It's like,
Yeah,
you motherfucker, you're trying to have it both ways, and you
yeah,
can't do that. As
yeah,
popular as you are, you could have got a discourse going, and instead you were like, well, golly, Republicans buy sneakers too, Democrats buy sneakers too,
yeah.
and you just won't say anything, you fucking creatively and morally bankrupt loser.
Yeah, and it's funny because people like that are stuck between such a rock and a hard place, right? Is because most of their money is made from people that agree with that about the Jesus thing, but they're also very hard right wing kind of people. So he can't come out and say I don't support. He can't say fuck ICE, like he can't do that because he's going to lose a ton of his money, because that's what his base does. So he's stuck, like he can't be at a place like the Grammys and say what he actually thinks, because he's going to have everybody in the room boo him. But he also can't like say anything to really agree with them in the room, because then all of his actual fans are not going to buy his stuff anymore. So it's like you've painted yourself into this corner by you're trying to be neutral and wishy-washy and say I just love everybody, but when the chips actually get laid down, what are your feelings going to be? And if it's going to be that you agree with the base that would give you up if you got up there and said something like fuck ICE, then you need to own that. And maybe you find a new fan base of people being like looking at how actually brave you are for saying something like that. Because this whole thing where he just makes music that makes people feel okay with being toxic as long as they ask for forgiveness, and just like accountability is not an excuse for acting shitty. Taking accountability doesn't just like make it okay to act shitty. It makes it easy to forgive you if you do something shitty that you didn't mean to do and then you apologize for it. Like that accountability is great. But if you continue to do these same toxic things all the time and you just ask for forgiveness and you think that's how it works, then I think you've got the wrong idea about that little book you were waving around at people. I think there's a place for redemption stories. I think there's a place for people like him that whether they want to be political or not, that's okay. But right now, how religion is getting used by one side or the other. And you bringing a Bible up there is a lightning rod that people are going to have questions about. And then to immediately back off and say, oh, shucks, I don't know. I don't really know what I can say about that. I'm just a dumb redneck. It's like, well, you certainly look like one now.
Well, and that's the thing is like, if you truly believe like, oh, Jesus is for everybody, which again, beautiful idea.
Mm-hmm.
And if you truly believe that, then trust your audience. And I know this is a leap. Trust your audience to like understand your nuance and be able to walk that out, because you're not saying, yeah, Republicans, you're all fucked in the head, or fuck ICE or anything like that. He doesn't have to say that. Other artists had that covered. But he could speak truth to power. Because these people eat out of the palm of his hand, he can speak to them the way you would speak to someone with love. The way that his wife probably looked at him and was like, you are an 800-pound man. I love you, but I'm sick of seeing my life flash before my eyes when you get on top of me. And we have children, and I'm worried about our future, your future. I love you, and I'm saying this from a place of love. You have to make some lifestyle changes. And God bless him, he did. He could he could relate to his audience on that level. Cause like you said, he's trying to relate on the, like, we're all sinners. None of us is beyond redemption. I was sitting in a jail cell with a Bible and a radio, and look what I turned it into. And like, very inspirational, but I think people get the wrong message out of it. I think, like you said, they get the wrong message out of it, which is kind of like, no matter how many times you fuck up, you'll be forgiven. So I might take this opportunity to fuck up a little. And I hate to paint with a broad brush because, plenty of, good Jelly Roll fans out there, I'm sure. But I hate the mealy mouthed have it both ways thing, dude. It drives
Yeah.
me absolutely nuts. It's just
Yeah.
like, you just don't say anything at all.
Yeah, and it's just the inability or maybe the unwillingness to just go to that second question of, when people ask him like, oh, how do you feel about this subject, and he says, oh, well, I love everybody and I love Jesus, and then maybe ask him, be like, well, what would Jesus think in this situation? Well, what do you
Yes.
think of
Why
what's
doesn't
happening
anyone
to
ask him
everybody?
that?
Yeah, and why doesn't anyone ask any of these people that second question? That's the thing, is like, okay, so you allow them the opportunity to put up the shield, and then you don't do anything to like make them try to drop it or anything like that. It's like, you ask them this question, they can give you this mealy mouth answer. I love that you use that term. It's perfect. They give you this mealy mouth answer, and then when you ask them that second one of like, okay, well, what would Jesus think about people getting ripped out of their cars, ripped out of their homes, a whole prison full of children because you've deported all their parents, and or who knows what's happened to all their parents. What would Jesus think about that? If you're really truly a believer and truly a follower of what he teaches, and like, I certainly don't claim to be, and I don't claim to be an expert, but my general understanding is that he wouldn't be cool with any of that. So like, what are you waving that Bible around for if it's not to make a statement about what he would be okay with, instead of just being like, oh, well, I guess this is what my followers like.
Yeah, you can't invoke him for clicks and then beg off. That's totally fucking disingenuous.
Yeah.
We talk about endless opportunities for redemption, and I feel like this has given me carte blanche to go back to hating him and being mean about him. So I guess everything righted itself. Nature found a way. We spent an awful lot of time on Jelly Roll. I would just like to point out, for the record, Kendrick Lamar, 9 nominations, 5 wins. I think it makes him also the
The most.
most awarded rap artist, right?
Yes, I think the best song of the year award is what got that for Luther, is what
Put
sealed that for him.
put him over the hump. So 9
Yeah.
noms, 5 wins. Bad Bunny, 6 noms, 3 wins. Jelly Hole went 3 for 3.
Of course. Yeah, that just, it's horrendous. But there were some very good performances in this one. I don't know if you caught up on any of those.
Yeah, oh
So-
yeah.
oh yeah. So the one, the best new artist one, that it was fine. But the one that I got really excited about was the D'Angelo tribute that they did, which was absolutely fantastic. And folks, there's a D'Angelo episode. If you want to go back and listen to what we thought about Voodoo, please do so, because it was a great album, and we certainly spent a long time talking about it. It was fantastic. So they did that, and then the biggest surprise was that Lauryn Hill actually got on stage and performed music, and it was actually very, very good.
Yeah, I think that was kind of wild. That one actually did feel like a little under rehearsed to me. There were some like wonky transitions and stuff,
Mhm.
but I think given who it's for, it's just an honor to do it, because especially if you look at like the in memoriam on this,
Mm-hmm.
Sly Stallone got skunked.
Yeah.
Or Sly Stone, sorry.
Yeah. I was like, wait, did Sylvester Stallone die? I was like,
Sylvester
what?
Stallone died at the Grammys, dude. It was bad. Jelly Roll sat on him.
And I was like, wait, so he died and it was long enough ago that he would have been in the in memoriam and I didn't know?
It's for his spoken word album. But yeah, like Sly Stone got like a throwaway mention. Like, great that Bob Weir got a tribute from John Mayer and Brian Wilson got a tribute, but like, holy shit, like that was kind of a big oversight. And it's like those things always are. The in memoriams, it's like there's no good way to do it if it's not in print. You know what I mean?
So what I found, because I actually asked somebody when I was a travel agent, one of the clients that I had to work with sometimes was the museum side of like the Academy of Arts and Science. So like the Academy Awards, different than the Grammys, but the like what I asked somebody there, I was like, so what, like, how do they decide who's in those? Because we were talking about like there's always snubs, right? It's the family of the person that wants to be in the in memoriam. They're the one that needs to like fight for it. So like there's if they're like big enough, like someone like Brian Wilson, they were going to include anyway because he's just like a absolute luminary. But someone like Sly Stone very well could have been that the family said no, they don't want a tribute. You know, that he was in the in memoriam. So like it's not only that it might not just be that the Grammys decided that they didn't want to do a tribute for them. Sometimes it's just the family's like, we don't want that to happen. You know, so they'll put their name up there. And then the people that are snubbed, sometimes it's the family that says we don't even want their name up there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so like,
and I mean,
I mean, I'm not trying to like carry water for the Grammys or anything like that, but there's like, I realize there's a lot of reasons why sometimes it feels like not as much time gets spent where it should on those things.
yeah, because it just felt kind of strange to have it be like a throwaway mention from Trevor Noah, who, by the way, Trump's going to sue. Did you know?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
We're about to have some fun. Fuck
Yeah.
off. Anyway, don't want to get out on that line soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess in terms of like the other performances and moments, I mean, there wasn't anything like diabolical like Kanye interrupting Taylor Swift thing.
The Cher presentation. Did you watch that when she gave the award for Song of the Year to Luther?
Yeah, what
And she's just like Luther Vandross. And her whole so first she had walked up there and Trevor Noah gave her like a lifetime achievement award, and so she gave a little speech about her, you know, just like rambled her way through talking about her career a little bit, and then started walking off the stage, and Trevor Noah was like, no, Cher, don't go away yet, you have to give the next award. So they have to like pull her back from like just about getting past the curtain to get off stage and pull her back to the thing, and so she's stands there for a minute, and he's like, oh, did you want to read the nominees? She goes, oh, okay. And she reads through the nominees and then closes the envelope back up and then keeps standing there, and she goes, oh, I thought it was going to be on the teleprompter, and opens it back up, and she goes, oh, Luther Vandross. Sorry, no, it's Luther by Kendrick Lamar.
Let me tell you something. Meemaw's hot, but she ain't right. She ain't right.
And the producer and Kendrick both like kind of made fun of her, but I mean, it was a Luther Vandross sample, so she wasn't like totally off base. At least it had something to do with it. But just absolutely hysterical moment. And then Trevor Noah gets up there afterwards, and he's like, "I love live TV."
Oh, baby, 100%. You know what? I never really liked his Daily Show, but he's a good host for this. He's not going to do it again. I guess it was like 6 consecutive or something. But
yeah,
he says he's done. But I think he's good at it.
Yes, I think there's several people. I think the next one we see, I think Nikki Glazer is going to be the new one that does the
hard pass.
Well,
hard pass.
You wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers. Don't lie to yourself.
Well, she wouldn't be doing it in the first place. And if she did, you could see its journey from gullet to gut to butthole. And I ain't about that life.
Well, were there any other moments from the Grammys that you'd seen that you want to talk a little bit more about, or do you want to let the people free?
I think we'll let the people free. You know, we had some, you know, the best new artist medley, I think was a good showcase for some and a good argument for some. Messy, Lola, what's her name, I think had a nice little coming out. That was a good little recognition. Bieber's not my thing, but you know, that was like a weird, literally and figuratively stripped down performance that kind of worked. Just him in a loop pedal. So again, nothing like mind blowing, but kind of a controversy free, down the middle Grammys, I think.
Yeah,
for a year.
And the thing is, it felt very controversy free, but the amount of people that were getting up and, you know, making political statements and things like that. Well, I agree with a lot of the statements. It's just like, I think everybody was just like, okay, little celebrity, like, yeah, no one cares. Like, say your piece, and then like, let's get more music.
Well, it's like poor baby Billie Eilish getting clowned for being like stolen land, and they're like, yeah,
exactly. It's like, that's what I mean. It's like we're so past like that being a good part of the discourse. Like, we don't need celebrities telling us anything these days. It's like, just go live in your castle. We're good.
Heart in the right place. Clunky attempt. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, at least it wasn't another Imagine with Gal Gadot. At
Very
least we didn't
true.
have that. At least we didn't have that. Well, folks, oh, another Grammys. I felt like this was I didn't like my batting average that I had on my picks this year. I do appreciate that a lot of the winners were worthy winners this year. Doesn't happen every year, but you'll catch us again next year when we do the Grammys again, because they are going to happen again. And I wonder if Bad Bunny is going to win again.
It's certainly possible. I mean, a great many things are possible when you believe, and great many things can be achieved when you're a team. And we are a team, most certainly, a team of two, sometimes three, in terms of pumping out content on the channel. When we're not diarrheaing our brains out like poor Tanner. He decided to go down to the creek, have a drink of the cool, clear water, contract a parasite, and then paint the garage. But hey, that's neither here nor there.
It's like a nice earth tone green, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You'd paint a dresser that color and not think twice. That's just the kind of stuff Tanner's getting into. And, there's plenty of stuff that we're getting into. And we have a lot of great content where we talk about the Grammys. We talk about the latest and greatest albums. We do revisits of classics. We do reactions to songs, both old and new. And all of this content can be found bundled in one sweet, bespoke little parcel at youtube.com/C/out on that line. Get over there. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Second step in the process, very important. Click the bell so you get notified when we put new stuff on. Thumbs up is the third step. You have to give the video a thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And I'm willing to venture that you did. The long Jelly Roll discourse did something for somebody. And you can tell us more about it with the all-important step of engaging with us in the comments. Let us know what you think of Jelly Roll, of Bad Bunny's win, of all the shenanigans and all the nominees and all the wins and snubs and highs and lows, all that happy horse shit. You just put it in the comments of this video and we'll read it. We'll react to you. We'll give you feedback. We'll engage with you. This is a mutually beneficial thing. But mutually beneficial means that you have to participate to get your value. You know what I mean? Like, scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. You can't really afford not to. So why don't you join us today? youtube.com/C/out on that line.
Folks, do it. Just do it. Just hit the follow button. Leave some comments. Tell us what you want to hear. Till next time.